New York and on the new Hot 97 app. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is Ebro in the morning with Laura Styles, Rosenberg, and the legend DJ Premier. There's a new Gangstarr album that Premier has cooked up.
Yes.
My God.
Now, the name of the album.
One of the best yet.
Facts.
And every song so far has lived up to the title of the album.
Thank you.
Let me
Thank
say
you.
that.
That's the mission all the time.
Now, how long have you been working on specifically getting this out the door?
Roughly about a year, because my father got sick while we were actually, shout to Royce 5 now, we were going on the Prime 2 tour. Mm-hmm. Second day of the tour, my father called me at the meet and greet before the show and said, hey, I need you to call the Undertaker and set up my funeral arrangements. I'm like, what? Like, just like that. And he's like, but I need you to help get me out of this hospital and let me pass it home. I'm like, you sure, Pop? Because I just seen him for Mother's Day, and he's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, I'm on my way. As soon as I got off stage, I told Royce, he was like, yo, man, the tour can wait. And I flew home and took care of all the arrangements with my sisters. We were a very tight family, down south. Mm-hmm. And we all did what we needed to do, and I got him home, and he passed it home peacefully. At game 7 of the Cavs-Warriors game, right before 10 o'clock p.m., I was looking at the game like, damn, they're losing third quarter, because and then I looked, and I said, let me go check on him again. And then right when I checked on him, you could tell he was gone.
So that was right. So right around then after that is when you started.
So then, what happened was, I just need some time to get my mom straight because she's 90, and once I got through all of making sure she's good, I had already started the album. We had wanted to already start making announcements on the anniversary of Moment of Truth. Mm-hmm. So we were gonna be like, happy anniversary, Moment of Truth, 20 years, and then boom, get a new Gangstarr joint. So that was the plan. But once he got sick, it was like, I can always come back to it. So we just had to regroup.
Had you guys let out any posthumous Guru verses?
Never.
Because I was going to say, I don't remember anything. Like, you guys didn't really hint at it much. You didn't say, oh, we're sitting on this.
Nah, I wanted to make sure we moved correctly,
And here we go. So this is. So do you feel really
I'm
good?
doing Jay-Z moves.
Yeah, and it feels like that because this feels like a big deal. It doesn't feel like this is just like.
I've been around Jay when he'd be like, yo, this is what I'm going to do. No one knows. And I was supposed to do the Black album by myself, just me and him.
Oh, that was supposed to be like a KRS-One
He
boom
told
bap
me
situation.
the deal. He said, I need you just 2 weeks to not mess with anybody else. And me and Guru were on hiatus at the time. So, I never put anything in front of Gangstarr. If Gangstarr wants to go in tomorrow and I'm working with Jay or Nas or KRS, I will put that on hold for Gangstarr, always number one. So we were on break and he was doing Jazzmatazz, so I had that window. So I was
and
like,
what ended up happening?
He changed his mind and did the Dynasty. He said, I'm going to go ahead and do Dynasty first, so scratch that, but still keep it in mind. Once it came to him doing it, I was on a major tour with Gangstarr, and I couldn't really make it back to do a beat for the album. So that's how I ended up not being on it.
Wow.
These are all of the Guru verses that we hear on this, one of the best yet.
Mm-hmm.
Were these verses that didn't have songs? Were these songs that were almost done and you finished them up? Like what? How much?
They were sessions that already existed prior to me, and I bought them from his business partner. So
wait. From who? Really?
Yeah.
You had to buy those.
Yeah, I bought it. It was worth paying the ransom. You know what I'm saying?
And is that what it felt like to some extent?
Yeah. It felt like a rescue for me.
Yeah, but you freed them.
Yeah, exactly.
And how many did you end up getting? Can you say?
Almost 30. But some of them weren't on the level of what I want, but I was like, you know what, I'll still take them.
Just in case.
Yeah, maybe I could, some of them may have a hook, and some of them may have a verse, but then it might be a little wobbly. I'm like, and then I had to sift through them to go, that one I could definitely flip. That one I could definitely flip. Now it's like, and then some of them are just one verses, so I'm like, who can I get to collab and make it where it seems like they did it together? And honestly, the whole album sounds like he was in the room to do it that day. Even what he's saying lyrically, it don't sound like dated stuff that I'm salvaging.
Right. So who do we have? We have Cole, we have Talib Kweli.
Yep, MOP.
Yes.
I reunited the original Gangstarr Foundation, which is Group Home, J. Rue the Damager. It's our first time all recording since 1996. Big Suge is the founder of Gangstarr with Guru. They founded Gangstarr in Atlanta when Guru was going to Morehouse. And so Suge and him came up with the whole idea of the logo, the name of the group and everything. And they're both from Boston, so they grew up together. Suge was just
Freddie Fox?
What's that?
Freddie Fox.
Oh, Freddie Fox, yeah. And who else? We have
Neo.
Nitty Scott, who's she's a dope
She's
female
on the record
MC.
with Neo. That's fire.
Yeah. So shout to Nitty. Q-Tip, that's my jam right there. And did I miss anybody? I think I got everybody.
That's everybody.
I'm looking at Dimples like so far so
Who's
good.
on Militia Part 4? Take Flight.
That's always going to traditionally be Freddie Fox, and
Big
but
Suge.
he's Bumpy Knuckles. But he said on Gangstarr, I'm Freddie Fox. And the thing is, we did part 1, which was on Moment of Truth. Then we did part 2, which was the Pete Rock remix. But then,
I love it.
But then we did a remix with Rakim and Dub C.
And
it was
Lady
supposed
of
to be
Rage.
Method Man, but
No, Rage was on the remix. Do you know my Steez?
yeah,
right?
you know my Steez.
Sorry.
And then since that was part 2, when we did the Owners album in 2003, we did Capture Militia Part 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember shout out to Sarah Honda. She was like, you got if you do another Militia, it's got to be Part 4. I was like, I know. So
You got to figure out, remember each militia.
yeah, but Guru keeps saying rhymes take flight. It's serious in the intro. So I said, you know what? Take Flight, Militia Part 4. Take Flight is the perfect name. Yeah.
So in doing business to get this out the door, it sounds like it wasn't easy. There was some frustration.
Definitely.
And I've read the news about how you had Guru's Urn with you in the studio to kind of, did that keep you knowing that there was a higher purpose here?
Absolutely.
F all the bullshit.
Yep. Yeah,
Like-
that's what put me in the right frame of mind, because I needed that, because I'm so used to him being in the room, and I was nervous for days, just like, damn, here we go. But because I haven't done nothing with just the two of us together, so first song I did was called Bless the Mic. Once I got past that, then I did Bad Name, which is our second single now, and once I got there, I was like, yo, this is knocking. And I started
Bad Name is
starting to feel
fire,
that,
bro.
but yeah, that's the traditional Gangstarr.
Yeah,
and,
man.
Now,
and
by
then
the way, Bad Name,
Uh-huh.
does he take a subtle shot at Hot 97?
where?
He goes, by the way, I wasn't offended. I just found it interesting.
I've taken jabs before, so
Exactly.
you
It's
tell me.
regular. It's regular.
It's Hot 97. You're supposed to take
Yeah,
shots.
exactly.
He has a line where he says something about where hip hop lives.
No, he said let's release the politics so real hip hop could live. I think he's just talking about just hip hop.
Okay,
as
so he's
as
not
a culture.
Got it.
Yeah.
I misread it. I misread when I heard it.
Yeah.
But it's a dope record, and you're right. It doesn't sound. I mean, honestly, these ideas are still what makes sense in 2019 as they were when he recorded.
Yeah, he
them.
would still say word to God if Big and Pac was still here.
Right, and when
You
do
know
you
what I'm
think?
saying?
And when do you think these were recorded? Like 04,
I
05,
checked some of the
06?
dates of them of when they were created, and some of them were done in like 2005, 2006, because that was around the time we weren't really seeing each other, as far as communication. So that's when they were recording stuff all the time.
So at what point did it cross your mind where you go, I have to reach out to this guy who I have a litany of problems with,
Right.
business-wise, morally,
Right.
every single thing you could have an issue and disagreement on the most
Yeah.
personal of things. I need to pick up the phone and call this guy. How did you?
I got to credit my manager, Ian Schwartzman. Shout to Ian and my attorney, who's been Gangstar's attorney since Step in the Arena, which that album, and Ebro, the album, and maybe some of y'all may be young when not you Dimples, but or Nip. There's Nip is in here, but. During that time, and not only that, the confusion when they were together about all this, we disbanded. We never disbanded. You could check any YouTube way after we weren't around each other. He never says Gangstarr broke up ever. There's nothing. There's no documentation of that. And then on top of that, the fact that we've always had the same attorney, we've always been in contact when royalties came or certain monies would needed to be sent to him, when it came to my lawyer's office. So, and that was always a 50-50 split. So that never has been changed, and it still hasn't been changed to this day. So because of that, I just kept telling my manager, I know he's sitting on something. I know it. I know how Guru records. I know his work ethic. Guru would do 20 songs in a day. And so I'm like, I know he's got something.
Because, what was the likelihood that during all that time when you guys weren't working that he wasn't doing joints? And they put out projects, so there has to be other stuff.
We always had the same rhythm. Gangstarr album, tour. He does Jazzmatazz. Then he'll do a Ballhead Slick album or an Ill Kid album. And then I'm always doing one cut at least on all of those albums. So, and then we produce on the side, and then we get back together, do another album. Even with 4-year breaks, we always reunite with bangers.
So did you guys actually have to have the phone call, or was it lawyers?
No, I didn't want to talk to him. I let Ian deal with everything, and it got to a point where he was down to say, all right, I'm down to let him go for the right number.
All right.
Go get it. The new project from Gangstarr, one of the best yet. I want to play Bad Name. I want to play
Family and Loyalty.
Family and
Shout
Loyalty.
to Cole, man.
Yo. I love that Cole announced that was his. I don't know how long you had been sitting on that record.
Very short.
But him coming out and being like, yo, that's the last guest verse I'm doing.
Yeah, he made the rules. Bad Name was supposed to be the jump off because that sounds like traditional Gangstarr.
Right.
And I already had my plan out. Cole was like, yeah, I'm with that. He said, and then we could do mine second for radio, and then we could do a video. I said, cool. Right, Dimples will confirm. Right when we're all ready to pull the trigger on Bad Name, my phone lights up Cole. I'm like, okay, what's up, baby? I need to run something by you that I don't know how you're gonna feel about this, but I think you should change and switch it and drop mine first. And I'm like, dude, we're about to literally market it. Everything's ready. He's like, yeah, I know, but pardon me on that, but I really need to go with mine first. I'm about to disappear for a minute. And I was like, okay, well, what does that have to do with? He said, in order to get the video and just everything timed out, this is going to be my last feature before I shut down. And I'm going to be just out of sight for a minute. I'm like, well, okay, well. I was like, no, man, no. And we went back and forth, and I was like, he's like, it's not going to hurt you. He said, your audience is already built. You don't even have to even introduce yourself to the world to build Gangstar's brand. He said, honestly, the way you usually do a 6 to 8 week stretch on a single, he said, you could drop another one in 2 weeks, and no one's going to be like, oh, man, what are they doing? Right. Your fans are going to support it. And I was like, all right. And then, but now we already had our video plans for Bad Name, which was already set. So now I'm like, I wasn't really ready for a director to do this one. So I'm like, man, who could do it that really already understands? I don't want to have to explain Gangstarr to get a dope video shot. And that's when I called Fab Five Freddy, since Just to Get a Rep was always one of our most successful videos. And then Freddie, yo, so what's the song about? Yeah, so yeah, man, you know what we need to do? I ain't like all that stuff that I read at the end about with the will and all. I don't believe all that. We need to reenact that. And I was like, well, write it out and tell me. And I sent it to Guru's family and to his son. And his son is 19 now. He was 9 when he passed. And his son was like, yo, I like this. And I was like, cool, you want to do it? He said, yeah. So you mind being in it? He said, no, I'll be in it. And Suge was also there, and Justin, his nephew, who is very vital because he's the one that set off the whole storm of what was going on.
Oh, wow.
And that's how, if it wasn't for him, we might not even be at this point right now with Gangstarr. So shout out to Justin, his nephew, and Denzel, his brother. Denzel's the one that convinced me to go to the hospital to see him in the hospital. And I really was just like, nah, I'm not going to go. And he was a young kid, and he was like, find a way. And he said it like that with an attitude. I'm like, this young dude talking to me like that. But the way he said it, he said, find a way to get in there, and I did. And that's how I got to see him. So shout out to Denzel, Justin. Shout out to his sister, Trish, Guru's sister. And them. I've known them since 88, his whole family. I used to stay at their house. Trish is that deal. The old boy be discounting her like she don't exist. She is the truth. And Guru only trusted his most inner, deepest problems and issues with her. I used to be around them all the time. And they used to be on tour with us a lot when they were young kids. We got pictures and videos and all that. So shout out to Trish. She's part of our company, Gangstarr Enterprises.
All the bad stories that we heard when Guru passed about whatever was going on. Hearing you talk about how these individuals that are his family, right, are still the reason that this got to
No
where
question.
we are today to make sure we commemorate
No question.
one of the greatest hip hop groups of all time, which is Gangstarr, yourself, and being that glue.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what I hear you saying. I hear nephew, sister,
Son,
brother,
yeah.
Son,
right?
yeah,
Son,
nephew.
like these are the people that made sure that this, you know.
And I've been making sure that they've been financially straight from the time that he passed. I mean, that has been, and it still is we started Gangstarr Enterprises together, so we're all together. His son, shout to Lana, his son's mom, she's great. Trish, so we have an Elam in the work. Shout to his brother Jay too.
I was going to say the whole Elam family. I know you're not trying to pat yourself on the back, but man, they must be appreciative of not only the financial stuff, but how hard you rep for him. I mean,
no question.
You rep for him. It reminds me. The only thing I can say it reminds me of, only this is over a longer period of time now, almost is like Chris and Scott LaRock.
Right.
Where like we all know who Scott LaRock is, and everyone does. It's almost like Nas and Ill Will. Like it just was part of it's who you are, and you carry him constantly. I'm sure that means a lot to them.
I wanted to hear more Gangstarr stuff just from what we did. It was always great. Our tours are great. Yeah, we fought many a times like any other group, but we'd fight, and then the next day we having a drink and hanging out at the after party, and we lived together from 88 to 89 to 94, all the way to when Hard to Earn came out. So that's 4 albums that we were living together, even with the fights.
Where were you living?
First, I was in East New York, so that's how that started. And then I moved to the Bronx, 183rd in the Bronx. That's how I met Malachi and Nutcracker from Group Home, Panchi from NYG's, and Smiley the Ghetto Child, and so on. And that's when I used to see Dame Dash walking his dogs, and Jay-Z used to be around over with Original Flavor, because Ski lived right down the block with Chubby Chub and all of them, and that's how we used to
Ski moved up here.
Yeah, so that's how we see Jay and everything uptown, and in the Bronx. But then after we got our deal, I moved back to Brooklyn to Branford Marcellus's Brownstone and Clinton Hill, and that's how we Rage and Nikki D lived right down the block. Chubb Rock. Then we met Biggie, because Mr. C used to always stress me like, "Yo, go check out Biggie." One day, Guru comes in the house and like, "Yo, you gotta hear this dude Biggie Smalls down on Fulton, man. He's crazy dope." I said, "That's the one Mr. C keeps stressing me about." All right, I'm gonna go down there. And they're down there rhyming. That's how we met Junior Mafia and Kim, and Lil Dap used to be like, yo, Kim, come here, girl. Come here, girl.
Dap used to get into Kim?
Yeah, he used to always push up on Kim. She's like, yo, did you leave me alone, Dap? Shout to Dap too, man.
It's hearing you tell those stories too. We all obviously everybody talks about the New York sound, right? And your DJ Premier boom bap sound is seen as golden era 90s New York sound, right? Around the world, like that's universal.
Right.
People don't even know that you're originally from Houston, right? And that Guru's originally from Boston.
Right.
Which I think, for everyone that comes from all over the globe, Caribbean folks, African folks that come to New York, that creates what the New York sound
no doubt.
really
Shout
is.
to Prairie View too, because I was born in Fifth Ward, and then my father got a job teaching at Prairie View.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then he moved and built his own house. So then we moved there.
But yeah, it's Texas and Boston, but it adds up to Brooklyn.
And shout to PV, because I went to PV. I didn't graduate, but it's HBCU.
Yeah, you rep Prairie View very hard as well.
Yeah, all the time. I was looking at old footage like, damn, I had a PV shirt on back then.
Oh, yeah.
Do
I
you
remember.
feel, fast forward, we're in 2019 now, and your sound, the DJ Premier drums production is its own thing that, obviously people have tried to duplicate, but it never comes out quite the same. And you've stayed consistent with that. You make other things for sure that many
question.
people don't even know, but when you go, here goes one of them things, you know how to make it.
Yeah.
Has the demand for that sound increased?
It has now. Yeah, it's like now even the younger artists, I can't mention right now, but now they're saying, hey, we want that sound. And shout to Ferg, ASAP Ferg, because when I saw him one day, we were flying together from like, we're always in Europe and bumping to each other in the same hotel, eating breakfast, and it's like, oh, damn, you here too? For totally different gigs. And he was just like, yo, we got to get one in. He said, but don't do it what I'm doing with like New Level and stuff like that. I want to, or even the Shabba Ranks, I want to do your style. And he came that day.
That record,
and just did it right there on the spot.
You
know what I'm
released, a lot of people may have missed it. Premier released, has it been 4 records?
I have one more left for Payday.
There's the Casanova joint, which is incredible.
That was the
Casanova
second.
sounded fire on it.
Love that joint.
Ferg joint.
Fire.
And
the Griselda.
And the West Side Gun.
Yeah, headlines,
Yeah. That shit was fire too.
Yeah, which we did your interview.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
Those 4 little singles are not a part of a whole project.
No, our former manager that managed Gangstarr for my whole career, Patrick Moxie, at that time, started his label Payday. He was known for throwing the dopest hip hop parties back in the day. You had to know where it was at. It was word of mouth, and they treated it like Studio 54. Like you were hoping to get picked to get in. And he really liked our record, Words I Manifest. He said, "Man, I really want to manage y'all." He said, "But I got to get y'all off of that independent label." And he did that and managed us. So from there, when he started Payday, he said, "Man, I need some help launching this." So he had Mos Def on there already with a group called UTD, which is Mos Def's sister and his brother. DCQ. Then I brought Showbiz and AG over there, and then he said, "Hey man, that new J. Rue demo, that was a demo, come clean." So he was like, because that's on Guru's Ill Kid demo vinyl. So when he said, "If you want to do that," he said, "If you, I'll give you a budget to do the album if you produce it, because I know it'll come off." I was like, "All right." And Guru said, "Well, I want to bring 3 acts in." He said, "I want to bring Suge, Group Home, and J. Rue." I was like, "All right." I said, "Just let me produce it, and we might pop off." And then it worked. So then he shut down, started Ultra Records, which is his dance label, which is super huge.
That's the same Ultra, that's the Ultra Festival.
Well, no, he came at them for using the name.
Got it.
So now he gets a big piece of that too.
Because Ultra, as the label, was a quintessential dance music movement. Yeah.
So now he gets a taste of that festival every time they throw it. And so he could just sit back and relax. So he saw me on tour in Europe, and he was like, "Hey, man, I want to relaunch Payday, but I want you to bring back that same sound that it was born from." And I was like, "Well, how you want to do it?" And we negotiated. I said, let me just do like maybe 4 or 5 records, and then I'm gone. So he said, "Well, can it be under the people that's under our roster, under RCA and Sony and all of that?" I looked at the list. I saw Outkast and Andre 3000. So I reached out to get Andre 3000 on there, but they were like, "Right now he can't, but maybe after you're done with when you get to your 4th, maybe or maybe not." So I'm like, "Well, let me wait till."
So what happened?
Well, we haven't done the 4th one yet. So I said, all right. So then I looked at the list and I said, "Oh, A$AP Rocky. Oh, A$AP Ferg. We've been talking on the plane 2-3 times in different countries." Reached out to Ferg. He said, "Man, I'm in town now. I'm leaving tomorrow." He said, "I'll come by right now." He came by, did it right there on the spot. And
it's called,
Our Streets is fire.
The joint with Ferg is called
Our Streets.
Our Streets.
Yeah.
You may have missed it. I want to run that. Then we're going to get back to the new Gangstarr album, one of the best yet, because we got to play a couple of more songs off that. We got DJ Premier here. It is Hot 97.
Yeah.
Ebro in the morning, Laura Styles, Rosenberg. Premier is here. Premier.
Yes.
What's the website where people can buy the gear? Because when you buy gear from the site, the whole squad eats.
Yeah, because it's a blog. It's actually a blog as well. But one of the tabs is shop. It's premierwashere.com, but was is spelled WUZ, but it's all one word. Premierwashere.com. And
hats, tees, hoodies.
Oh yeah, all Gangstarr merch.
What's the biggest
Gangstarr
seller?
And actually all the Preem stuff.
But the Gangstarr, is it the regular logo T-shirt?
Oh yeah, we have so many different Gangstarr logo stuff. You always sell the original. That you just do. And I'm a consumer of merch. I've been going to concerts since I was a kid with my mom. And we really, really were always into buying the shirts together. Me and my mom used to go to Ike and Tina Turner when I was a kid. Tina Turner brought me on stage because I got lost because I'm dancing in the aisle like, "Oh, let me sneak off away from my parents," and I forgot what aisle I was in, so I started crying off. I don't know, maybe 5 or 6.
Wow.
And I started crying, and the usher was like, where's your parents? I was like, "I don't know." And they're like, "We got to make an announcement." So they took me to the stage. This is in Houston at the Sam Houston Coliseum. I'll never forget that. They said, and Tina's like, "We have a little boy. He was lost. His parents, can you come up here and get him?" And my mom and them walked down. She slapped me and said, "Boy, don't you ever go out the wrong way from us in here again." You know, my parents used to give me my spankings. So.
But you got to meet Tina Turner at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
That's incredible.
Got to see her wiggle up close. And the Ikettes.
Of the projects you just mentioned, we were talking about earlier, the Payday projects, the Sunrise in the East.
Yeah.
Living Proof. If you had to pick one of those fully, you know what? I'll even throw in the Return of the Boom Bap. Of all the outside albums you did where you fully produced it, if you had to take one of them, what's the one you take?
It's crazy because
When you say take, what do you mean?
Like take with you. Like that's the one you're claiming. You have to claim.
I know what he's doing.
See, it's got to be a tie. See, Group Home is like considered a classic, but I'm so proud of the J. Rue album because he was the first one out of our stable to blow. Like, because we're seeing Wu-Tang blowing with all their individual artists and as a group, and we were just so proud of J. Rue. But, you know, with KRS, Boom Bap was a big project too. But I just got to give J. Rue because he really was, he had his own lane lyrically, and he was repping BK and, everything.
What the fuck were you thinking when you made the original? When I first heard it, I was like,
I was battling
how's
RZA.
anyone gonna blend this record?
I was battling RZA.
Really? So
RZA, we knew RZA. RZA came to our house when he was Prince Rakeem, and Jizza used to come to our house. Easy Mo B used to come to our house, and RZA told me, I'm going to start this group called the Wu-Tang Clan. And he said it's gonna be almost like on some karate shit, but it's gonna be where we form, individuals, and I'm gonna get my dudes from Staten Island, get my dudes from Brooklyn, get some a guy named Method Man from Long Island, but he lived in Staten Island. He was just telling me all this, and it was kind of in one ear out the other. One day, me and Guru at a bar, this place called the Arena that used to rock in the city. And, we always went out drinking. You know Guru drinks.
He liked to have a beverage here and there.
And we having our drinking moment, and we're at the bar with Onyx, and this is when Onyx was really big. We're sitting at the bar talking and kicking it. All of a sudden, Protect Your Neck comes on, and Onyx starts just wilding, going, ah, and starts screaming, and we're like looking at them like, what the hell? And they're like, yo, this is that shit. I'm like, who is this? Yo, this Wu-Tang Clan. And I'm like, that's the shit RZA said he was gonna do. And next thing you know, Video Music Box is playing the video.
So you felt there was a competitive, you had to keep up with what RZA was doing.
No, RZA saw me in L.A. and said, yo, that Come Clean, that's cool, that's cool. Yeah, I got some piano joints I'm about to throw, it's gonna shut that down. I was like, all right, cool. So I said, I'm gonna do a piano joint. I did the original. That popped off. He saw me again in L.A. at another party. That's when it was called Jamaica back then. And on Sunday nights, he sees me there. He goes, okay, yeah, you got me on that piano joint, but I got one called Cream. Wait till you hear that. When I heard Cream, I was like, all right, you win. He got me on that one. So, yeah, we laughed about it in May. We was on tour together with Daylight and Public Enemy.
Did you eventually, when you did the Dirty record way later, you did an old Dirty record, right?
Oh, yeah.
Was he? Do you guys do that together or no?
Nah, that's when he was signed to Dame Dash through Rockefeller.
So, was he already gone when you made the record?
They gave me the song and said, we don't want you to mess with it until later, but here's the acapella so that you have it. We're gonna do it later on. The day he passed, I'm like, man, I should go ahead and do this now. So I did it that day, and I went on tour to Europe the very next day. And
you made Pop Shots the day that he passed?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And then from there, I had to go to Europe the next day. So, because that's what it was. I was like, damn, if I'm gone for a month, I'm not going to have no place to really make a beat and do all that type of stuff.
But did you talk to him leading up to it at all or no?
When he came home, as soon as he got out of prison, we kicked him. But we knew Old Dirty from way back. I knew him when he was just a song.
Oh, all the way from Brooklyn?
Yeah, but we know him from 89, 88. I got a picture I'll show you before I leave here of us. He used to have the stair step flat top, like Scoob and Scrap. I got a picture of us. Yeah, I'll show it to you.
Wow.
We go back, man.
Wow.
30 years, baby.
What? You brought up the albums. Rosenberg said, what album would you take with you? Who was the most upset that you gave them beats to Group Home?
Man, so many people. I got to shout out Muggsy. He was down with Fat Joe, and actually his brother, Full Flex, who passed, that was his brother. Mm-hmm. I was up in the Bronx one day over on Trinity Ave, just chilling with Joe and everybody, and Muggsy was like, yo, man, I love Dap and Mel. Those are my boys, but why'd you give them all that heat? And I'm like, yo, because they part of our crew, so I'm repping my team. I'm not going to give them no garbage. And he's like, yeah, man, but... come on, man. I don't even rap. I'm like, yeah, but that's my. I'm really loyal on the family level. I really take family serious.
The reason I bring that up is people may or may not remember there was so much heat in the industry around that album,
right?
and the beats that you had to put out all the instrumentals so everybody feel like they gotta at least, okay, fuck it. Here go all the instrumentals. Y'all can rap over it if you want to.
And they did well. They had a successful career. They just did a tour,
and
reunion with Suge and J. Rue.
And people, here's the thing, and I'm guilty of this too, being someone who talks about music all the time. We look back at things sometimes and go like, that shit was actually whack. You have to remember at the time, Dap in particular, he was straight fire. Like his voice when my lifestyle was stupid, business never knew my chance, mom's kicking. Like he had a thing.
Yeah, he had a thing.
And on Speak Your Clout, when he jumped on those records, and what was the one before Speak Your Clout?
I'm the Man.
And On the Man.
That was
like
his
when
debut.
he jumped on those records, he made an impact.
Yeah, he did.
So like
He had a unique sound.
a very unique sound. So you may hear it and traditionally, they're not the illest bars you're ever going to hear in your life, but they worked at the
And
time.
again, it's family, so I'm gonna make sure the family's straight. You know that's how you supposed to roll. You supposed to look out for your guys.
How much of sound of voice, as you as the producer, when you got into a room, because I feel like that's one of the fundamental flaws too frequently in hip hop today.
Right.
Is that not? And when I say sound alike, I don't mean rap alike.
Right.
And I don't mean like they're trying to sound alike. I mean legitimately the way they're using their voice in recorded form. It sounds similar to too many other things. If you look back at some of the things we loved about hip hop, specifically your crew, Wu-Tang Clan, any of the greats that came, whether it was Rakim and Kane, KRS, Chuck, whoever, LL, they didn't sound like the same person. Their rhyme styles were different. They changed their patterns up and they used their voice different. How much of that as a producer was important for you?
Number one thing for me is the voice.
Beyond like how complex your bars
100%. It's the voice. It's something that just catches me. I'm like, if I ever get a chance, I could do something.
So
with
it was
that.
legit like an instrument to you. You heard it like an instrument.
100%. Yeah. And Guru, that's what it was about Guru. Like he didn't sound like anybody.
And he said it. I was going to say, he knew it was mostly the voice.
Yeah, no one sounds like Guru to this very day. It's like it's him off the first word,
My monotone style. It really was monotone style. I mean, it was just like he stayed so even.
That's why I used to tell him, you just need the right tracks to make your voice stand out. Let me be that part.
Say that again, man, for people that don't get it.
A real producer knows how to bring out your tone. You may be dope, you may have dope bars, but you gotta know how to make the music match to bring you out to shine. Like that. That's all science that comes with being a producer.
What is the balance? You've worked with Hove. You work with everybody.
Everybody.
What is the balance? You come in and you're like, here, I know your voice. Here's the music that I think complements your voice. The artist then says, yay or nay, I like this record, I don't like this record, and y'all go from there?
I've been through that, yeah, I've been through that.
Or do you allow artists in your world to say, I want this type of song, and you're like, yeah, but that doesn't really fit you?
Yeah, I've been through that. I don't really like that when they go, yo, give me a kick in the door. It's like, no. Biggie got kicked in the door. Let me give you something for you.
Right.
Yeah, I'm very selfish when it comes to the final say because I'm a DJ, and I think if I wasn't a DJ, maybe I'd be different. But I'm like a guy that can observe a sports game and go, oh man, I wouldn't have run that play. I would have done this, and I guarantee you it would have worked. Like even playing a video game.
Done it.
Yeah, so that's how I apply it with artists too. It's like, man, no, this is what you need. You know what I'm saying?
And one thing I've always loved about your career, and we had the same conversation yesterday with The Roots, the people who continue to make it and be relevant forever are the people who not only honor the classics but respect the new kids.
Absolutely.
And one person I remember you did it with, it kind of slept on, in my opinion, how beautifully done it was Face the Facts with Mac Miller.
We were just doing that just to bug out.
So that's what I was going to ask you. I've never talked about your friendship with Mac, but knowing you both, I have to imagine the mutual just fucking hip-hop love must have been great between you two.
Yeah, I mean, he reached out through Static, Selector, shout to Static, and he was like, yo, I really want to meet Premier, and I was like, yo, you can come by D&D. So he came by, and it was headquarters at the time, rest in peace to headquarters, who actually November 2nd is his anniversary, 17 years of his passing.
Wow.
So that's why my radio show and my studio's named
All
after
named after
that.
headquarters.
Yeah. So, but yeah, when it came to that, we were just hanging out. We didn't plan on making no music. We were just kicking it, just smoking and drinking. And then by the time 6 a.m. rolled around, I'm like, yo, man, I'm going to go ahead and head home because those are the regular hours for us. And I said, and I started just playing with the drum machine, and bless you, and playing with the drum machine, and he was like, "Yo, Let me go in there and lay that. And prior to that, when he got there, he goes, is this the booth that Big L was in? I was like, yeah. He said, who else was in there? I said, everybody, KRS-One, Jay-Z, you know. He goes, can I stand in there? I said, yeah. He goes, can I turn the lights off? You know, we had the dimmer lights. And I said, yeah. I said, I'm going to go to the store. We have a store on the corner called Crack Deli because used to be so many heroin fiends walking around. And all the crack dealers used to be at the delis that we always go to, so we call it Crack Deli to this day. And I said, I'm going to go to Crack Deli. I'll be right back. I come back maybe a good 15, 20 minutes later. He's still in the booth in silence, just in there. I'm like, yo, where'd Matt go? He said, he's still in the booth. I'm like, yo, you all right? He goes, I just wanted to absorb all this hip-hop legacy, you know. And I was like, all right. And he chilled in there for a minute. Then we went back to smoking and drinking.
If you haven't listened to the Mac Miller premiere record, do yourself a favor.
Yeah,
it's
that's
a treat.
how it came about. And then we did the Cypher with BET Hip Hop
Oh, yeah,
Awards.
that's right. And that's really cool. You've gotten to really, you know, I really appreciate that about the BET Hip Hop Awards. It's probably one of the things that drew me to it was when they started using you, you know, for, you didn't do this year, correct?
Nah.
Up till this year, though, it would have been every year?
Mm-hmm.
They did some with Drama. DJ Drama did a few.
Yeah.
You did
Cass One has done
some.
it too.
Shout to Jesse
Cal,
Collins.
They had different DJs doing
Yeah.
different. They've done it
Yeah.
different ways.
Yeah,
but
shout to Jesse Collins. That's my guy. We go way back. So
But it lent it credibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though I know it frustrated you. I mean, the way they did it. So my relationship with it is, I'm like, oh yeah, look, Premiere's on, and then I show what they have to do, and I'm like, it's TV shit. They got to do it for TV.
Yeah.
They got to use one beat. They
gotta
edit
make sure
it weird.
It's a beat that's clear to use.
A beat that's
Yeah.
cleared. Plus, I know they edit you, and they have to like cut to these spots where the scratch comes in at the wrong time.
And my main thing, well, it started off in the first couple of years. I mean, maybe the first 5 years, really, really on point. Because when Jesse came up with the idea, I said, well, it should be, and the Hip Hop Awards was new. BET Awards was always the award show, but it didn't really cover the hip hop on that level. And then he said, I'm going to do a separate award show for that. And when it came down to it, DJ Scratch had to fill in for me because I had an emergency and I had to leave the day we were supposed to shoot. And I said, yo, we're using a piece of President. They cleared it. And I said it should be the one thing on the show that sticks to tradition. Everything else, you can keep it new. Let the youngsters come in, all that's cool. But let that stay traditional breaks. Now, this year, they were like, yo, can you not do breaks anymore and do more of the new sound? I'm like, nah, because you're taking the tradition away.
Oh, so you decided not to do it?
Yeah, I didn't want to do it. And not when you take the tradition of what it was built on, let it stay like that and make them come to show that they can do traditional
That was the
rhyming.
cool part. That's another cool part about it. That's what it was.
Yeah, you
looping
can
a
turn
classic
up
break.
and all that, but do it to a breakbeat.
Right.
Well, especially if you're freestyling.
Yeah.
Right?
It's supposed to be a
Or
freestyle,
even a
right?
written
freestyle, whatever.
But have a banger to some breaks.
Yeah.
Right.
It has to be check 1, 2. You know.
Yeah, a little check one, too.
I want to get back to that. Did we play the J. Cole? Yep. Did we play Bad Name? Yep.
Yeah.
What else should we play off of this new Gangstarr album that is out right now that everybody can go check out?
Hey, we could do Hitman with Q-Tip.
Let's do
That's
it.
my jam.
Ooh. What up,
Let's
Tip?
go, man. New Gangstarr album, and then we're going to follow that up with a classic mass appeal. DJ Premier is here.
All right.
DJ Premier got a new project that he's put together. It's the Gangstarr album. It is called One of the Best Yet. Now, you work with Big on his first album. Mm-hmm. Who reached out to you for that?
He did. I was already hanging around him so much during the first Ready to Die. Before it got to the point of these songs being altered and redone, I was around the first Ready to Die.
Oh, that's how you have the original Primo mix of. There's an original Machine Gun Funk. That's a remix?
No, that was a remix Puff asked me to do, and it just wasn't clicking with me, so I was like, I don't like it.
Really? Do you like it now?
That's what
still
that's what it's called.
You're wild.
It's called the Premier I Don't Like This remix. You know what I'm
Really?
saying?
That's so funny.
Yeah,
I think it's so dope.
I always hold myself to I always hold myself to a high standard based off of. Same thing with Nas. When we did Illmatic and I heard The World Is Yours, I'm like, I'm changing my represent. My original represent was some jazz bassline joint.
Oh, really?
Then Q-Tip came and I remember he brought the cassette tape and he always pause mixes his beats. And he's like, yo, I'll pause mix this beat, but I'm going to fix it and do it on the drum machine later. I went to drop Nas off to see Puff and literally we were listening to the pause mix of the original sample for One Love, and we're just like, what the hell? I'm like, I'm changing my mind tomorrow. Like, that's how much I wanted to be on their level. We'd already done New York State of Mind. I was happy with that. We did Memory Lane, which Nas had to convince me to keep because he
There's
was
a remix of that too. Isn't there a different version of that?
Yeah, the original. No, the one that everybody heard that Q-Tip played. That's really the remix.
Okay.
But Nas didn't want that one out. He wasn't really crazy about it.
Did you get a call? We probably talked about this before, but did you get a call from Puff when the J. Rue record came out talking about kidnapping?
Oh yeah,
Bad Boy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So did you have to play intermediary there at all, or were they pissed at you at all?
Oh yeah, they were pissed, but I stood by J. Rue because he's fam, and I felt the same way Rue did at the time because I was at the Source Awards, and at that time I was just like, man, stand up to Suge and them, you know what I'm saying? Because I witnessed that, you know what I'm saying? And I was cool with Suge. I used to lift weights with Suge. You know what I'm saying?
You've lifted weights with Suge Knight.
One time at the studio, I was there to do some work for Rage. And I've been in some bumps in the road with some of the people of his team, and they gave me my respect because we stood up to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've always been a stand-up guy. And I've always been front line.
Well, what was Suge like in the weight room, most importantly?
I threw up what he threw up. You know, he gets busy. I worked out with Just Ice. He was on my show last week, and it's Just Ice to tell you I get busy. I'm chubby, but I get busy.
But Just Ice still jacked?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'll show you a picture of him.
Shouts to Just Ice,
He's
man.
still, he's ripped, yeah. So, and he's still the same. Yo, Premier. Yeah, you know, but me and Suge had a great rapport with each other. And like I said, he witnessed me stand up to some of his guys that would give me a problem. And I just knew we were probably going to get beat down, but I was going to definitely tap somebody's jaw.
Yeah, somebody going down.
Yeah, someone's going with you. But Suge was always cool with us, man, like big time. But I still, and the thing is, we love Puff. Puff is a great guy, man, and I'm always, ride for Puff too because I know all the things he's been through, and he's always been cool, overall with us. But yeah, he was upset about it. But he called the label. Him and J. Rue got into it on the phone. And I told this story a few years ago, and it was funny because when he left the numbers for J. Rue to call, it said my office phone, my car phone, my home phone, and then one of them said my boat phone. We were like, damn, he got a boat phone? Like, damn, man.
That was just a stunt.
Yeah. I mean, no, he had a boat phone, believe that. And he was like, yeah. Just know I'm gonna shut that down, and I was like, I shut it down, and they just never got to clear that air. Obviously we've grown past it now, and even when I had the lawsuit again on Crack Commandments, Puff helped me out and said, I'll meet whatever the debt is on paying for the lawsuit, and I got Biggie's part, and I'll cover yours, and he took care of that. So,
oh wow, that's dope.
Puff's good people, man. I got mad love for him.
I want to play. We might as well play 10 Crack Commandments.
Let's do it.
There's a new
shout to
Gangstarr
Hamilton.
album. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
Hamilton.
the royalties are great.
Yeah, oh, that's nice.
Lin-Manuel's a great dude, man. Great dude.
And shout out to Angie Martinez.
Oh yeah, shit. What up, Ange?
Because this was originally her countdown record before it was.
Yeah,
Biggie's
that was
record.
her. That was her.
Intro.
Hot Five, and it was called the Hot 5 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Puff heard it, I remember everybody's calling me on the air. While I'm driving, going, "Yo, Puff's on the radio telling you to call him on Hot 97." I'm like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, turn the radio on." And when I turn it on, him and Angie are kicking it, and I'm, like, he's not saying nothing, And then all of a sudden, we're gonna go to a song, and we'll be back. And he goes, "Primo, call me." And that's when I called the warm line, and he's like, "Yo, Biggie wants that." And this is how dope J. Rue is. I told J. Rue, and this is with the tension and everything. J. Rue was like, "Yo, I told him Puff wants that for Big's album. If you ain't with it, I'm not with it either." He goes, "Man, that's hip hop. Let him have it." And that was exactly what he said. And he said, "No charge," and we did it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, it worked out.
And in the movie, I used to, you know how you want things accurate. In the movie, the Notorious movie, the scene where they were playing "Sky's the Limit" and he's sitting there he's smiling, going, "Yo, I'm the greatest." That was false. That was my session. We were playing Crack Commandments, and that was the final record. And he goes, "Preem, it's over. I did it. My next album's done. I'm the greatest." So that's why I was like, why they not play my record? But it's all good. But my part was obviously in the early part.
Right.
They were selling crack, but that was really my session. That
Wow.
scene. That's
His
how
name is DJ
movies.
Premier. I love
Premier
I
was
can
here.
do this all day.
Yeah, no, I know. And
I
he
could be here for hours doing this, playing records. The new Gangstarr project, one of the best yet. Make sure you go to Premier Was Here. Was is spelled W-U-Z.
Yep.
Cop some merch. Get this album and stream it on Apple Music.
We're doing vinyl. We're doing CD.
Vinyl.
The vinyl CD is November 15th. And the vinyl is December 6th.
In time for Christmas.
And the Bad Name video drops November 6th, right? Yeah, November 6th. 8th or 6th? Yeah, the 6th. Dimple's giving me the thumbs up. Nip, what about it? Nip said he's waiting on his ears.
Very cute dog.
Yeah. What up, Nip?
DJ Premier, we love you, brother. Thank
Love
you
you
for
too.
always
Thanks for having
continuing to
us.
support
All right.
us and put out amazing material. Give it up,
Primo!
man. Some classic
I'll clap
Premier
too.
produced situations.
Yeah.